Very good morning, students. Welcome to Focus C or IIT and NEET Foundation program by Krishnaveni Talent Schools and the Mastermind Schools. So as you all can see on the screen and you are well aware, just a minute. So my subject is physics. Just a minute. There is a problem with the yes. So my subject is physics. We are in class 7th. Today we are going to start a new chapter. That is third chapter. Already we completed 2 chapters. We are entering into the third chapter, heat, and is the session number 1, right? So as we are starting the new chapter, we have to start with some basic introduction, which you already learned in the earlier classes about the heat. So you all know heat is a common word. It is a common word which we'll use in our day-to-day life, right? It is a common word only. Heat is not a new word for us. Regularly, daily, when you wake up from the bed, when you start having the tea or coffee or milk, or when you go for the bath, we go for hot water. Everywhere we require the heat. Means it is a part of our life, right? So we can do lot of works with heat. We can do lot of works with heat. That's why heat is called energy, right? With which you can do some work is called energy. So heat is also comes under one of the important form of energy with which we can do so many our day-to-day life works. So we'll see what is the heat will do. Right? That is a consequence of heat. We'll see. Right? Consequence, effects of heat, what heat will do, and how heat transfers. That is called transfer of heat. Right? That is mode of transfers. Means what way it is transfers. Mode of transfers. All these things we learn in the given chapter. Maybe 7th class, 8th class, 9th class, 10th class when you go all. Or similarly, expansion also. What happens when the heat is applied to a body, either solid, liquid, or gas? How they expand. All these things are comes under the part of heat. So heat is the one kind of effect. Sorry, cause we can call it as. Whereas temperature, temperature is a very important word linked with the heat. Whenever body heats, its temperature increases. Whenever body heat decreases, temperature also decreases. So these are the two related terms, heat and temperature. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about all these things along with some available videos also I'll show you, right? Clear? So heat is a form of energy. Whenever heat comes, temperature also will come into play. So we'll see what is heat exactly and how it is affecting the everything, right? Now you can see the clearly. So the first synopsis 1 about the heat and temperature. Very important terms. They are interrelated terms. We can call it as. So see, observe a piece of ice when dropped into hot water. When ice is dropped into hot water, what happens? Ice melts. Correct? Correct or not? When ice is dropped into hot water, ice melts and becomes again water. So what is happening here? Heat flows from hot body to cold body. Very important observation this is. Whenever two bodies of different temperatures, for examples, we have taken one hot body of 15 degrees temperature and another cold body is kept here with 5 degrees temperature, right? We kept the two bodies side by side. So what happens here? Heat flows from 15 degrees body to 5 degrees body. Up to what level they flow? They flow until both become same. Means both becomes 10 degrees Celsius and 10 degrees Celsius. Because total is 15 plus 5, 20. 20 becomes 10, 10. Until they become 10, 10, they keep on flowing. That is the method of flow of heat. See, when the person got fever, generally when you sit beside him, what happened? That heat will transfer to the next one. Because there is a principle of heat, that is. Heat principle is it always flows from hot body to cold body, high temperature body to low temperature body. That is the first observation you can make about the heat, right? So there are so many principles are there, we see. So what is heat formally? So heat is form of energy which flows from, you can note this as a first synopsis point, which flows from hot body to cold body. You can note this point number 1. So heat is a form of energy which flows from hot body to cold body. Got it? Right? So next, after knowing what is heat, so heat is represented means denoted, you can call it as represented by letter Q, capital Q or H. You can represent the heat either by Q or H, capital Q or capital H. Okay. So heat is measured, units. Units are very important, measured in calorie or joule or erg. Very important again, where 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. You can note this very important point, later will come across. Right. So third point is measured in, that is heat is measured, you can call it as. Heat is measured in calorie or joule or erg. Because heat is also energy, you can measure in joule. Okay. So note on 3 points, what we learned initially. 4.2, I directly wrote, actually it's 4.18. I wrote directly 4.2. You write 4.2. Right? Point number 1, heat is a form of energy which flows from hot body to cold body. Note everybody. Second point, heat is represented by a letter Q or H. Right? Third point, heat is measured in calorie or joule or erg. So joule is generally in SI system and erg is in CGS system. So there is a relation between calorie and joule is there. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 or 4.18 joule. Right? Hope you written the 3 points. Right. So now we are having some clarity about the heat, right? Why you are calling it as energy? Because we can do some work with heat. We can boil the water. Yes, you can boil the water. We can melt the water. Even increasing of heat, we boils. Decreasing of heat, freezes. When it is decreased, water becomes ice. So it flows from hot body to cold body. Example I will tell. Take 1 coffee glass, hot coffee, and 1 ice in a bowl, ice bowl. Both you take. Hot coffee, ice bowl. Place it on dining table. Right? So wait for some time, few minutes. So what you observe is coffee becomes cold. Ice hot, means it melts. See, try to understand, I'll show you. Just a minute. So suppose you have one dining table. One table is there. You place hot coffee on that. Hot coffee and cold ice. Okay. It is a coffee, ice. They both are placed on same table. So what we observe is after some time, the coffee becomes cold and ice melts. Means what is happening here? When hot coffee is placed on table, you know that hot coffee is the hot body, table is the cold body. So heat transfer from coffee to table. Because of that, coffee becomes cold. But in this case, same table acts as a hot body and send the heat to the ice cubes and it melts. Means table is the cold body, table is the hot body, ice is the cold body. So like that you can see so many innumerable examples in our day-to-day life about the heat. So you can use so many heating devices are there. So many heating devices starting from bulb, oven, geysers, gas stove, electric stoves. Many heating devices are there, even room heaters. Which all these are produced heat and do some work for us. As they are doing some work, we can call them as a form of energy. Everything with which we can do work is called energy. So the total dealing of energies comes under physics only, not in any other subject. Physics deals with the energies. It may be electricity, it may be light, it may be magnetism, it may be heat, anything. All comes under energies. So like that, what we noted here? Heat. Heat is a form of energy which always flows from hot body to cold body. And heat is denoted by a letter capital Q or H. And it is measured in units called calorie or joule or erg, where 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 or 4.18 joule. Right? This is about the heat. Now, when heat comes, automatically, another important item already told. It comes as temperature. Next is temperature. Okay. We cannot see temperature or we cannot see hotness. See, what happens when you dip your finger into hot water? Hot water, if you place your finger, what happens? We feel the hotness. But we cannot measure how much heat it is. We cannot know by touching. By touching, we cannot know the degree. Right? Fourth point you can note down. Degree of hotness or coldness. Degree means level. How much level? Is called temperature. So heat we can feel. Temperature we cannot measure directly by touching. By touching, you cannot say that it is of 30 degrees or 40 degrees or 50 degrees. So daily when you see atmosphere temperature, you can see in papers and new TV channels, they'll tell Hyderabad today 35 degrees, minimum 20, maximum 35. They are not measuring only by seeing the atmosphere. There are some devices are there. There are some devices to measure them. We cannot measure. We cannot measure. We only can feel. We can feel. If you want to measure, you have to go for the devices. So, degree of hotness or coldness of a body is called temperature. Notice fourth point. Degree of means how many degrees it is. So, when you increase the temperature, when you increase the heat, temperature increases. When you decrease the heat, temperature decreases. See, summer, winter, quite different. In summer, more heat, more temperature. In winter, no heat, less temperature. Right or not? Means both heat and temperature. Fifth point. Both heat and temperature are interrelated. Interrelated means but that means they are directly proportional. When heat increases, temperature also increases. When heat decreases, temperature also decreases. My voice is breaking. No chance. Once you check with your sound, because I can see clearly. There is no breaking. Please check with your sound or your network. Right. So, Karmangat, please check your mobile or whatever you are using. So, point number 5 is both heat and temperature are interrelated. Interrelated. Okay. So, fifth point. So, write down fourth and fifth point. Fourth point is about temperature. Fourth point is about temperature. Right. So, what is temperature? Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness. Hotness or coldness of a body. Okay, right. Degree of means, suppose when you are touching the hot water or any hot body, we can feel it. We can feel how much it is based on how much it is burned. But we cannot measure. We cannot say by touching it is 30 degrees or 10 degrees. Correct or not? So that degree is called temperature. So the temperature directly proportional to or directly related to heat only. When there is no heat, no temperature. When there is a heat, temperature is there. So both are interrelated. Got? So write down fourth and fifth point of synopsis 1. Right. So before just going for further, I will show you one video for you regarding the heat and temperature. Watch the video. Then we can move to the next slide. So next slide is about continuation only about some scientists you can see and how to measure the temperature. But before that, let me show you video on some heat. Right.
Hello students, can you imagine how cold the earth would be if there were no sun? The sun is the earth's main source of heat. Only a little of the sun's heat reaches the earth. However, this is enough for life to exist on earth. Other sources of heat are fire and electric heater. In this lesson, we will study about heat and its measurements. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to identify hot, cold, and warm bodies, define heat as transfer of energy, differentiate between heat and temperature, explain clinical and laboratory thermometer, the sun, burning fuels, electricity, and mechanical work are sources of heat. Let us perform an experiment. We keep tin or aluminium sheet out under sun and touch after some time. We then place the same tin or aluminium sheet inside the house. Touch the sheet after some time. In the first case, we feel hot, and in the second case, we feel cold. Let us prove through another experiment that sun gives heat. Use a magnifying glass to focus sunlight on a piece of white paper. At the position where the sunlight is focused, the paper becomes hot, starts to turn brown, and soon bursts into flame. Thus, the heat from the sun makes the paper burn. Man can generate heat by burning wood, coal, and gas. Wood, coal, and gas are called fuels. Fuels burn in machine to make them work. A motor car runs by burning fuel. An aeroplane flies by burning fuel. Electricity also gives heat. Man uses electricity to cook the food and to work the machines. Heat can also be produced by rubbing two things together. This is by doing mechanical work. Rub the palms of your hands together. What do you feel? You will feel that it is hot.
जेई 2026 में टॉप 100 में रैंक लानी है, पर 11th आधी वेस्ट हो चुकी है, समझ नहीं आ रहा अब कैसे करूं, इतना बैकलॉग।
The ancient man generated fire by rubbing two stones. You must have held both ice and hot cup of coffee. Why is it that in one you feel cold, while in the other it is hot? When heat energy from our body flows out rapidly, we feel very cold. This is the case when we hold ice. Ice on the palm gives a sensation of cold because heat from your body flows out of your body to the ice. With this heat, the ice on your palm melts. When the heat energy flow from outside into our body is rapid and more, we feel very hot. This is the case when we hold cup of coffee. The heat from tea or coffee flows to tea to the hand. Thus, it is the flow of heat energy which determines the cold or hot. Students, let us perform an activity to understand the concept of direction of heat flow.
Very important, simple
We
experiment.
place a
We'll do.
glass of hot milk in a dish with cold water.
Tomorrow we'll do it this.
After some time, milk gets cool and water gets warm. Both milk and water come to lie at the same temperature.
So what you have to do is suppose your parent will give you hot milk. Hot milk. Take that and place it in a bowl containing cold water for some time. After some time, the heat from hot milk transfer to cold water. So milk become cold and water become hot. That you can experience. Simple experiment you can do.
Direction of the flow of heat is from hot to cold. Now we will learn
That is
the
what
concept
temperature.
of temperature. Temperature is the measurement of hotness or coldness of an object. We say that water from fridge is cold and milk is hot. How much cold is water? Is it cooler than ice? How much hot is milk? Is it hotter than boiling water? Obviously, for this we need a measure to know about coldness and hotness of a body. A hot body is at a higher temperature than a cool body. When a substance is heated, its temperature rises. On cooling, the temperature comes down. Degree of hotness or coldness in a body is described as its temperature.
See the difference.
The
You can
table
note this. You can note these 3 points. It is there in our next also, but you can better is note down simple way. So you have seen what is heat, you have seen what is temperature. So the difference is here. You can note down 3 points. Heat is a form of energy. You can note down as a table first. Heat is a form of energy. Temperature is the measurement of heat energy. Heat is raises the temperature of the body. The temperature decides the direction of flow of heat. Heat is measured in joule. Temperature is measured in Celsius or Kelvin. 3 very important points regarding the heat and temperature. So that we have next slide is there, but you can, this is looking clear. You can note down notebook first. I'll give you some time. Okay, make it fast. So 3 points, the form of table note down the difference between heat and temperature. So heat and temperature are the 2 important terms which are very much useful in our day-to-day life from morning to evening, around the clock. When you use hot summer, we'll use the AC. Cold, when your cold is more, we use the heaters, room heaters. So all these things are to maintain the temperature, standard temperature. Completed? Okay.
Shows the difference between heat and temperature. Heat is a form of energy. Temperature is a measure of heat energy level. Heat energy raises the temperature of a body, while the temperature decides the direction of flow of heat. Heat flows from a body at higher temperature to the body at lower temperature. Heat is measured in joules.
That we'll see.
Temperature is measured in degrees Celsius or Kelvin. Now
Okay.
that
So this we'll see later, thermometers. The next part is that. So we'll continue this video later. But till right now, we can go to our presentation or explanation part, right? So what we learned till now is about heat and temperature. See, there are some scientist names are mentioned here who involved in the development of temperature. See, in the above cases, can you measure the how hot or how cold you felt? Yes, it is possible through a quantity called temperature. By touching anything, we can feel. So quantity measured to know how hot or cold degree of coldness or temperature. Thus, the temperature gives the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Right? So, temperature standard units. We have seen for heat, it is calorie, joule or erg. For temperature, Kelvin, named after Lord Kelvin. He is a person named after him. The units are named after Kelvin or even Celsius, you can say. Kelvin or Celsius is the unit for the temperature, right? Kelvin or Celsius. So this relation is also there. We'll tell later. So the degree of hotness or coldness of a body is called temperature, which is measured in either Kelvin or Celsius, which are the names of the scientists, named after the scientist. Clear? So measurement of temperature. So we know temperature now. Till now we know what is heat, what is temperature. I told we can feel temperature, but we cannot measure directly by touching. With sense, we cannot measure the degree. The degree of hotness or coldness is measured by some device. Right? So the measurement of temperature is done with the different scales, namely Celsius or centigrade scale, Fahrenheit scale, Kelvin scale, and Römer scale. Different scales as per our requirement. Suppose you are using for doctors, use a different thermometer. When you go to laboratory, you can have different thermometer. When you go to meteorological stations, weather reporting stations, different temperatures. When you go to industries, different temperatures. So different thermometers are there. Right? So degree of Celsius or scale was introduced by Celsius. Again, Celsius is the name of the scientist who introduced these different scales. Right? So generally temperature of a place is expressed in degrees Celsius. What is the today's temperature Hyderabad? 30 degrees Celsius. Minimum 70 degrees Celsius, maximum 30 degrees Celsius. We use the Celsius as a common or standard. Right? So for example, maximum temperature of Hyderabad today is 36 degrees Celsius. Read as there are 6 degrees Celsius normal temperature of human body is expressed. Right? So next, Fahrenheit scale is introduced by a Fahrenheit. Okay. Fahrenheit scale is introduced by. So generally, human body normal temperature is 38.4 degrees Celsius. Normal temperature of human body. The 35 point, I think, 35.5 something approx. This is the minimum temperature. If it is less than that, we feel coldness. More than that, we get the fever in Celsius. Or you can call it as 98 Fahrenheit. Should be 98 Fahrenheit. It causes 98, 100, 1 or 2. Then we can feel that we got the fever. That we'll discuss later how to convert this 35 into 98 from Celsius or Fahrenheit. So like that, there are different scales to measure the different temperatures in the different purpose. Right? So what we'll use to measure how the scales are designed. So to design the scale and to devise the scale, to manufacture the scale, there is some separate branch of heat is there, where all these are manufactured as per requirement, like in laboratory thermometer, clinical thermometer, right? Or industrial thermometer, or there is another thermometer called 6 maximum and minimum thermometer used to measure the weather forecast. Okay, so like that, there are so many types of thermometers are there used to measure the temperature as per our requirement. So first, basically, we have clinical thermometer used by doctors for our human body temperature. Okay, clinical. Of course, for child's other thermometers also there. Clinical. Then laboratory, which is used in the laboratory. Then digital thermometer, latest come nowadays. Number will come directly. Otherwise, thermometer means you have to keep the mouth or armpits will raise the constriction. By seeing that raise in the constriction, we can come to know what is our temperature. But nowadays, we are in digital directly. Directly number will come 38.5, 39, 40, whatever it may be. So that is digital thermometers. Then latest I told one more is there 6. Again, name of the scientist. 6 maximum and minimum thermometer. So we can measure what is the maximum temperature. You can see when weather report comes, they'll tell you what is the maximum temperature of Hyderabad, minimum temperature of Hyderabad. How they'll get by using the 6 maximum and minimum thermometer. This is available in the meteorological station, weather forecasting station, which is present at every district or every state, everywhere, to note the minimum and maximum thermometer. Clear? Right? So, thermometers, about thermometers, there are so many types are there, as I told. There may be solid thermometers, liquid thermometers, and gaseous thermometers also available. Okay. Based on the range. So, based on the range means lower fixed point, upper fixed point. We can call it as. What is the minimum you can measure with the thermometer? What is the maximum we can measure with the thermometer? Based on that, they are classified into either clinical thermometer, laboratory, digital, or maximum. So based on that, they are divided. What is the minimum? The minimum value which you can measure is called lower fixed point. Maximum we can measure is called upper fixed point. Right? So the most common type of thermometer is mercury in glass thermometer. Generally, what we use for measuring temperature. Such thermometers have long glass stem with a thin uniform bore. Here, see. This is and this. Thermometer you can see commonly. When the bulb is heated, the mercury expands and flows into the bore of the stem and looks like a shining thread. That is called constriction. The temperature scale is marked on the stem. So, the clinical thermometer shows the figure is used to measure the body of temperature. The temperature of human body normally does 35 degrees Celsius or above 42. So range is 35 to 42. The human body clinical thermometer measurements. That is LFP is 35 degrees, UFP is 42. This is the reason why the thermometer has range 35 to 42. For other, usually have minus 10 to 110 degrees. That is clinical thermometer, that is laboratory thermometers. Because you need to measure negative temperatures also. In winter also, there are some places where ice fall is there. There is a negative temperature. That also can be measured by laboratory. A bore of the clinical thermometer has kink, does not allow the mercury to move back as soon as temperature changes. The thermometer has a given couple of sharp jerks to move the mercury back. Once mercury raised, you have to jerk, because see, when you go to the doctor to check the thermometer, they will shake first. They want to see that it is settled. The mercury once settled. So laboratory thermometer is used in laboratory to measure the chemicals, temperature. So many things used in the laboratory. So that range is from minus 1 degree, minus 10 to 110. Laboratory thermometer, if you see in laboratory, so minimum temperature is minus 10 degrees Celsius. Maximum is 110 degrees Celsius. We can measure. Because chemicals, you know how hot they are. We take concentrated chemicals like hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid. We want to use some chemical experiments. So the lower fixed point is minus 10, upper fixed point is 110. Whereas for clinical thermometer is 35 to 42 degrees Celsius. Right? So like that, based on the range only, based on the range, that is based on their lower fixed point and upper fixed point. The thermometers are designed and manufactured. Designed and manufactured. Right. So that's about the thermometer. So in next class, we'll discuss about so many types of thermometers are there. See, a digital thermometer commonly we can see, and difference between heat and temperature already we discussed. Okay. So then we'll discuss about some more details about the thermometers, scales of thermometers and everything, and relation between the thermometers. We have some numerical problems on that. Okay, before going for the effects of heat and source of heat and all we can discuss in the next class, right? So for today you can take the homework as, so already we have seen, so what we learn is two important topics. So you can find out the difference between heat and temperature. If you are not written, if you are not copied, write and do the corrections with your teachers and parents in your IIT notebook, right? So today the work for you is write the difference between heat and temperature, right? Heat and temperature. So maintain the notes properly with all the synopsis and even I'm providing you tasks also. Already given 3 tasks for you. Again, we'll give some more tasks every Saturday, which should be noted in your notebook. Okay. So that's all for today. We learn about what is heat, what is temperature, difference between heat and temperature, and some part about the thermometer. Remaining will continue in the next class. Right. So once again, we'll do the class tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll continue with the explanation of thermometers and relation between the thermometers. Right. So thank you very much, students. Thank you all of you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.